Hello humans, it's just Martine and welcome to another Dollar Tree haul. Oh no. This is the last Dollar Tree haul, of the time when the Dollar Tree sold things for $1. I have several, and I mean too many, Dollar Tree hauls still to hit you with that are $1.25. And in fact, the first of those is very exciting savings wise, and that one's going to prove to you why it's really no biggie that they changed the prices in terms of saving money by buying books at the Dollar Tree. But for today, we're going to jump into these 5 books that I have to share with you, all $1 each. Make sure you stay tuned to the end to see exactly how much I saved by shopping at the Dollar Tree. Let's get into it. The first 2 books are actually by the same author. They're both by Amalinda Berube? I don't know. Anyway, the first is The Dark Beneath the Ice. This clearly looks like a thriller of some kind. The tagline is it real or a nightmare? And that's a great question. To me, this looks like a nightmare. This book appears to be about this girl who is learning not to trust herself because she's starting to do things that she's never done before, and her mom had recently checked herself into a hospital, so she's worried that she's following in her mother's footsteps. Anyway, so this girl teams up with the daughter of a local psychic to try and figure out what's wrong with her. Pretty sure it's YA. And for its subjects, supernatural fiction, anxiety disorders, mentally ill, divorce, ants. I don't know why ants are so important to this, so I guess we'll have to figure that out. But I was right that there will be some mental health representation, which for me, as a psych major, will definitely be interesting to dig into. That's why I really appreciate reading psychological thrillers, because I have a slightly different perspective on it because of what I study. This one, copyright 2018, and originally sold for $10.99. And the other one by this author, Here There Are Monsters. The tagline is, they took my sister, I'll take her back. This is another nightmare of a cover. I can't decide which is more nightmarish. I think this one is more of a nightmare to me just because I don't like the skull at all. This book is apparently about these sisters who really have their differences, and so one of the sisters goes and moves away, but then the other sister, I believe, disappears, and there's something really sinister about how it happens. The one sister is fixated on building monstrous sculptures out of sticks and bones, so I guess that explains the cover. And so the last line in this I really appreciate. It says, this is the story of sisterhood turned toxic, imaginary monsters brought to life, and secrets that won't stay buried. Dun, dun, dun. And both of these, I have to say, every source book that I've picked up at the Dollar Tree has a really nice feel to it. And this is copyright 2019. So this one came first. Chicken, egg, chicken. But this one did come second, so 2019, but also $10.99, same price. Because, I mean, very similar in every other target demographic aspect. So I'm excited about these 2. I had yet to see the same author twice at the Dollar Tree, not even just twice, but twice in one visit to the Dollar Tree. So that was interesting, and I just knew I had to pick these up and get into it. I'd also seen this one before on somebody else's channel. So I was like, oh, I've seen this. And if I see a book before I go to the Dollar Tree, I pretty much always pick it up at the Dollar Tree because I want to show what kind of things you can find at the Dollar Tree. So yeah, excited about both of these. Next we have The Learning Curve by Mandy Berman. And this one would usually not be up my alley. I do love the line art on the front, but the synopsis made me go like, maybe I shouldn't read this, especially because one of the reviews on the back says it deals with the complexities of intimacy and consent, and that sometimes that's a touchy topic. It's about a love triangle between 2 college friends and a professor, which I don't love. But all of the characters seem very interested in this. One is struggling with the death of her sister, the other is in a relationship with somebody, and then there's a visiting professor, but the visiting professor is also in some type of trouble. So it really explores power dynamics and all those things. So it could be a really, really difficult read, but I just felt like I couldn't pass it up. It seemed too intriguing, and I'm really hopeful for the kinds of conversations that this book could have. So I'm going in hopeful instead of scared about it. But, it is a bit of a situation to walk into. But this one is copyright 2019 and originally sold for a whopping $27. So what a steal. Next, I have a sci-fi for you, Ball Lightning, and this is actually a translated work. And it's funny because I was on my library's app the other day and I was picking an audiobook to fall asleep to, and I saw this one sci-fi, I was like, this looks cool. And I looked at the author's name and I was like, I feel like I picked up a book by this author that I haven't read yet at the Dollar Tree. Like, I was thinking of this book and I was like, is that the same author? And I didn't check in that time, but now that I'm looking at this again, it says author of The Three Body Problem, which is the book that made me think that. So I was entirely correct. This was connected. Yeah, see, there's the book that I was listening to the other day. So that's crazy. Also, Barack Obama reviewed that trilogy. This is a separate book. It's not in the trilogy, but that is cool. So yeah, it's a translated work. The author is from the People's Republic of China. This book, at its very core, is a book about scientific discoveries and the intersection or clash they have with weaponry and war. It's about this guy whose parents are like destroyed by this thing called ball lightning right in front of his eyes. So he starts to study it and he realizes that he can harness the power for like a lot more. It's incredibly destructive. And so there are a lot of like scientific and ethical problems that are covered in this, which I think is pretty cool. This one is, I think, the oldest of the stack. Yes, by like a lot. Copyright 2005, is that correct? I mean, it did have to be translated. So like it had to have been around long enough. Yeah, it had to have been around long enough to like gain popularity in the original language, be translated to English. So copyright 2005, English translation copyrighted 2018, which makes sense. And then this one, much like The Learning Curve, has a much steeper price than the first two, originally $28.99, almost $30 for this book. So I'm excited to read it for just one. And then finally for this haul, we have The Virtue of Sin by Shannon Shurin. And I think this book is beautiful. It's just got all these butterflies on it, which is cool. It's also a debut? Question mark? Yeah, she's written short stories. This appears to be a debut. This book appears to be about this girl, I think her name is Miriam, who lives in New Jerusalem and learns to like follow the rules and stuff, and then she's called by God into marriage, and she's got this one boy that she knows she marries and she's excited for it and she's ready, and then the ceremony apparently goes horribly wrong and she ends up married to somebody else. And so she starts to question like everything she's ever known, everything she's ever believed in, all of that stuff. So I guess that's why it's called The Virtue of Sin, because she lives in this place that's like far away from depravity and sin. I guess she learns that some sins maybe aren't so bad. His words hold them captive while her words set them free. Yeah, so New Jerusalem is like a desert compound away from everybody. This copyright is also 2019 and it was originally $17.99. With these 5 books, tallying up all of the original prices without tax, they have a total worth of $95.96. When you take into account the fact that I spent $5 for these, I saved $90.96 on these 5 books, which is super exciting. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a big thumbs up and comment down below which of these books seems the most interesting to you, or have you read any of these? And subscribe for more reading, writing, and college lifestyle content. And until next time, bye humans, bye!